This media is brought to you by Kalaboukis.
In the realm of tomorrow, where techniques mind, we ponder, we dream.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Think Future. My name is Kalaboukis, and once again, we're coming at you live from deep in the heart of Silicon Valley, California. We're talking philosophy, technology. Actually, it's technology, philosophy, the future. Not necessarily those, and not necessarily in that order. If you're watching on YouTube, smack that subscribe button, hit that bell so you can be notified when new show comes online. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast service, please subscribe and please drop a note in Apple Podcasts. I'd greatly appreciate it. Now, in our sister publication, AI Daily, I read a very interesting statistic, which wasn't really surprising at all to me, actually. It wasn't surprising at all. And it was that fully a third, 33%, over 33% actually, of AI projects that are completed at companies are just for show. That's right, folks. They're just for show. They're so that the organization can say, we are working on AI. But that means that 66% of the projects are actually working on something, which, if you ask me, is a pretty high number. But the reality, folks, is that it's very similar to innovation. Now, I've worked in innovation in a lot of companies, and many companies, over a long period of time. Small companies, large companies. I've worked in the innovation space forever. And you guys remember ages ago when I kicked the term innovation to the curb, because it's meaningless now. There's no meaning to the word innovation anymore. It's not special, it's not interesting, it's not something that people really want. And you know why people don't really want innovation? I'll tell you why people don't want innovation. And I've seen this through many cycles, or what I call the innovation cycle in an organization. And the way the innovation cycle in an organization works is like this, is that maybe you get some new leadership, and the leadership realizes that, wait a second, we're not innovating. We're not innovating compared to our competitors. We're falling behind when it comes to our competitors. So let's focus on innovation. So let's bring in some innovation leadership. Let's bring in some innovation personnel. Let's try to make the company more innovative. So they go in and they hire a bunch of people and they expand a department. They create an innovation group within the organization. And then the innovation group gets to work, brainstorming, thinking about new things, projecting into the future, trying to figure out the future of the company, trying to figure out what new and innovative products this company could put out. And of course, it goes really well because they let the innovation group run riot and come up with new concepts, some amazing new concepts that really are the future of the organization. But about after a year or maybe 2 years, leadership looks at the innovation group again and looks at the budget of the innovation group and goes, what's the ROI? What have you delivered in the last 2 years? Well, I can show you thousands of really interesting concepts that if were fleshed out could create whole new product lines, whole new businesses, spin-offs, but they've never progressed beyond the concept stage. They're just where they are at. They're concepts and they're interesting, but nobody's gone anywhere with them. So we can't prove the ROI. However, the entire organization may have shifted towards being more innovative, and the thoughts of coming up with new innovative ideas, whether it's incremental or disruptive, is starting to spread throughout the organization. But since there's no ROI coming out within the 2-year mark or the 1-year mark or whenever the short-term thinking, because we know there's an epidemic of short-term thinking. Everybody is thinking so short-term that they're not looking at the long-term effects of this type of innovation on the company. That leadership starts saying, well, this is great that you guys are coming up with all these great concepts, but couldn't you take your resources and apply them to more profitable parts of the business? And eventually the innovation group gets released or wound down or put into other areas of the organization, profitable areas of the organization. Now that is the innovation cycle, and the same thing is happening with AI, because companies come in and they use AI and they use AI as and build concepts with AI. And once again, we're going to get to the point where a lot of these concepts never make it to the productization stage. And if the concept doesn't make it to the productization stage, then how can you actually see any profitability out of the concept? So what's the solution? Well, the solution is to understand that yes, a large number of these concepts will probably not go anywhere. But if you have been able to expand the idea or the set of concepts or the set of products that your organization may build at some point in the future, then you've already planted the seeds for greater innovation in the future. And doing the same thing with these AI products does the exact same thing. So you may not be able to see ROI right away, but you will see it later on as these ideas, these concepts are starting to get embedded into future product lines. It may not be a direct connection. And that's the thing that we all want to look at. As business people, as capitalists, as libertarians, we're all looking at the bottom line. We're all looking at the ROI. We're looking at this and going, how does this contribute to the ROI? And on the short time scale, it doesn't. But if we look at it from the longer time scale and the way it can change the culture within an organization, then there are immeasurable changes. And the profitability it just comes later. So the way to do it is to look at things from a much longer term. And so instead of shutting down your innovation group or your AI group because it hasn't generated ROI right away or within your little quarterly or yearly time frame, that doesn't matter. You need to let it run. It needs more space. It needs a longer runway to turn itself into true ROI. And you also need a more permissive environment where you just try things out. Just think of yourself like a VC, and you're building all these startups, and some startups might do well, and some startups might fail. But if you don't try them, you'll never know. If you don't take them to productization, you'll never know if that innovation or that AI project will turn into something real, will turn into something that basically becomes the future of your organization. So look more long-term, try more things, and let's make it 100% for show, because those concepts will infect the rest of your organization and make you more innovative. It might just not be a one-to-one connection that you can track like every other KPI. That's it for me for today. See you next time, and until then, don't forget to think future.
Pixels and philosophies merge and mold, a future untold, unseen.